Salut! Comment allez-vous? Mokomana, how are you doing? Nabesubrenyo bose mokomana. Inmon nekomana. Welcome to another episode of Ishome Kidawida. My name is Masaka Mdawida Tiki, and professionally, I am a linguist. I am a huge lover of languages, and teaching you Kidawida is one of my greatest joy and pleasure. Welcome to this episode. If it is your first time here, feel at home. This is where we explore, learn, and speak Kidawida. And if you are returning to this platform, thank you so much for embracing and supporting Ishome Kidawida. You can also support us more by purchasing our merchandise. Our hoodies go for 2,200 Kenyan shillings. Our polo t-shirts go for 1,000 Kenyan shillings. Our round necks go for 800 Kenyan shillings. And the kids t-shirts go for 600 Kenyan shillings. So you can join the community and you can support the initiative by purchasing your merchandise today. As you can see from the title of this video, on today's episode we are going to learn about common questions in Kidawida. And I have prepared 4 common questions in Kidawida for this episode. So we will look at the questions and then we will look at the possible responses that you can give to those questions. So the first common question in Kidawida is Koko how? Koko how? That means where are you? In Kiswahili, uko wapi? So these are some of the possible responses that you can give to that question. You can say neko or neka, and then you give the location. So let's look at some of the locations that you can give in response to that question. You can say neko aha. That means I am here. Niko hapa. You can also say neko mzinyi or neka mzinyi. Mzinyi is at home. So when you say neka mzinyi, it means I am at home. That is niko nyumbani. You can also say neka mbuvenyi. That means I am at the farm. In Kiswahili, niko shambani. You can also say neka irikonyi. That means I am at the kitchen. Niko jikoni. You can also say neka ikansenyi. That means I am at the church or niko kanisani in Kiswahili. You can also say neka skulu or neka skuli. That means I am at school. Niko shuleni. You can also say neka chienyi or neko chienyi. That means I am on the way. Niko njiani. And finally, you can also say neka sokoni or neko sokoni. That means I am at the market. Niko sokoni. So those are some of the responses that you can give to the question, Koko how? Let's look at the second question. The second question is, kwawenda how? Kwawenda how? That means, where are you going? In Kiswahili, unaenda wapi? These are some of the possible responses that you can give to that question. Again, depending on where you are located when the question is being asked. You can say, navenda mzinyi. That means, I am going home. Ninaenda nyumbani. You can also say, navenda mbuvenyi. That means, I am going to the farm. Ninaenda shambani. You can also say, navenda irikonyi. That means, I am going to the kitchen. Ninaenda jikoni. You can also say, navenda ikansenyi. That means, I am going to the church. Which means, ninaenda kanisani. You can also say, navenda skulu or navenda skuli. That means I'm going to school or ninaenda shuleni. And finally, you can say, navenda sokoni, which means ninaenda sokoni. That is, I am going to the market. Again, those are some of the possible responses that you can give to the question, kwawenda how? Let's look at the third common question in Kidawida. Kwafuma how? Kwafuma how? That means, where are you coming from? Umetoka wapi? Again, very many possible responses that you can give to that question. So these are some of the possible responses that you can give to that question. Nafuma mzinyi. That means nimetoka nyumbani. I am coming from home. Nafuma mbubenyi. I am coming from the farm. Nimetoka shambani. You can also say nafuma irikonyi, which means I am coming from the kitchen. Nimetoka jikoni. You can also say nafuma ikansenyi. That means I'm coming from the church. Nimetoka kanisani. You can also say nafuma skulu or nafuma skuli. That means I am coming from school. Nimetoka shuleni. And finally, you can also say nafuma sokoni, which means nimetoka sokoni. I am coming from the market. So those are some of the responses that you can give to the question, wafuma hao in Kidawida. Let's look at the final question that you can be asked in Kidawida. Kwabe bonya bada. Kwabe bonya bada. That means, what are you doing? In Kiswahili, unafanya nini? These are some of the questions that you can give to such a question. So on this one, you will give the activities that you are doing. And this one borrows heavily from the previous episode that we did on verbs. So these are some of the responses that you can give to such a question. You can say, nabedeka. That means, ninapika. In English, I am cooking. You can also say, nabelima. That means, ninalima. You can also say, nabealia. Nabealia means, ninapalilia. You can also say, nabeja or nabeja. Again, depending on the different Taita region that one comes from, you can say nabeja or nabeja. It means the same exact thing. Nina kula. You can also say nabeshoma. This is one of the verbs that I have really spoken about in this platform. Kushoma means kusoma, which is to read or to study. So when someone says nabeshoma, it means ninasoma. I am either studying or I am reading. You can also say nabehorwa nguvo. That would translate to kupasi nguo. Ninapasi nguo. I am ironing the clothes. You can also say nabedaya machi. Nabedaya machi means ninachota maji. Kudaya machi is kuchota maji, to fetch water. So nabedaya machi, that means ninachota maji. Again, you can also say nabe kudunga machi. Nabe kudunga machi means nina oga. I also talked about this when we were talking about the morning activities in Kidawida. Nabe kudunga machi. That means ninaoga. I'm taking a bath. So those are some of the common questions in Kidawida, and those are some of the possible responses that you can give to those common questions in Kidawida. I believe that you have been able to grasp something. I believe that you can now be able to converse, and when someone asks you any of those questions, you can comfortably answer them. It is always my greatest joy and pleasure to be bringing you these amazing episodes of Ishome Kidawida. And as I always say, I will see you in my next episode. Bye!